In the Lante Jangwe tradition of Accra, Ni Lante Van der Poel is a name. And so, if the SOP is referring to titles, I understand and I accept that. But if the gentleman who explained it in the interview corroborated this to mean that titles, for us in the Greater Accra region, it is part of our name. My father was Ni Papoti Van der Poel. One point in his life, he became Ni Papoti as Atontihini of Otugoun. They are separate things. As a child, he was named Ni Papoti. Then he became Ni Papoti as a chief. So when he became Ni Papoti as a chief, if you want to register him, it's a different thing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I'll take one more. Yes, Honorable Member for Tamale. No.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, my contribution is rather brief, and I wish the Minister will take into consideration in guiding the Birth and Death Registry in coming up with a new SOP, because as she has also indicated in her presentation, and other contributions have gone to show, there are times that a title can also be a given name. So if you put it in the SOP that titles should not be registered, it becomes a bit ambiguous. When a parent decides to give a title as a name. For example, the minister, when she was speaking, talked of honorable as a title. But honorable is also an English word, which has meaning. If a parent decides he wants his child to grow out to be honorable, an honorable person in society, now we have Peace. People name their daughters Peace or their sons Peace. And we have, so I can decide that because I want the name to have a meaning, and so I want to call my child honorable. At that point, it is a title that has become a given name. And it will become difficult for an SOP to say that as a parent, I am not allowed to name my child honorable. When I can name my child Peace, I can name my child Justice. I can name my child Good Luck. So I think that it has to be very well couched so that we don't even have problems in the future. If we say titles should not be given, should not be registered, we will run into difficulties again in future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I'll give the last one here to Honorable Member for Filson North.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to
Honorable members, order.
Also contribute to the statement. Mr. Speaker, I would like to state a position of the law as regards an act of parliament and regulations emanating from the act of parliament vis-à-vis guidelines issued by an institution, and for that matter, the Births and Death Registry. I haven't fully read the statement because I've just been given a copy of the statement. But Mr. Speaker, the case of Professor Kopua Sari and the Attorney General and General Legal Counsel, a case which went to the Supreme Court as a result of imposition of exams and interview imposed on law graduates from the various law faculties in Ghana. The Supreme Court made it abundantly clear that whenever a statute exists and regulations are issued from the statute, you cannot use guidelines to override either the statute or the regulations. Mr. Speaker, that is the position of the law. And if these operating procedures were issued to derogate from the Act or from the regulation, then the position being submitted or espoused by the Registrar of Births and Deaths, Mr. Speaker, is not tenable in law. But if these guidelines, Mr. Speaker, if these guidelines are foundationed upon either the Acts or the regulation, then that position that the Registrar of Births and Deaths is espousing, Mr. Speaker, is perfectly right within the law. This is the position, Mr. Speaker, I will want to establish. Thank you.
What is the position of a guideline? Is it in the nature of a law? If a guideline is not passed by Parliament, what is its value?
There's no value.
So whatever it is that the agency wanted to do, their limit is the regulations. So nothing can be enforced against the people of the country unless it is in an act or a regulation of one side or the other. And I think that point should be very clear. Now I'm coming to the leaders. That's what we agreed.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I have a copy of the minister's statement, and Mr. Speaker, like you yourself espouse your position on the subject, we have enjoyed members' contribution to it, except Minister, your opening paragraph. Next time, it's only fair that you recognize that you are here because it was a request of Mr. Speaker in Parliament for you to be here as a follow-up. I'm not sure you just voluntarily decided to come and apprise this House on the matter, but it's okay. You have made reference to the Heritage newspaper. Mr. Speaker, names matter. And names matter because names have religious, cultural significance. And depending upon the time of your birth, sometimes the circumstance of your birth. Therefore, names are very important. And Mr. Speaker, let me share this philosophical view. Birth and death. In fact, I'm told by a sociologist that birth is only a messenger of death. When they give birth to you, they are preparing you for death. And Mr. Speaker, why it's important that we keep this record? Citizenship. Sando, Samba. When you come as a new birth, you are called Sando because you are a stranger. At that time, you have not been baptized and given a name. Some have
grown even with the name of Sandro, some with Sampa, referring to the male and female where appropriate. So, Mr. Speaker, we agree. But the argument of the chairman of Constitutional Legal is that, Minister, let's respect the hierarchy of the laws. An act of parliament is superior to a regulation, and a regulation is superior to guidelines. And we in parliament will never recognize guidelines. We will not. Therefore, we are saying that based on the Parent Act, bring us regulations, which will come and pass through our house here at the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation. Then the people of Ghana know through their representatives that if we err, they are guided that it was brought to the knowledge of their elected representatives. So I should commend you at least for a very timely and appropriate response. We look forward to a revision of the legislation which we would support you, but we think that what the Honorable Lecturer mentioned, given names, it does not lie within the registrar to determine a name for a parent, whether mother or father. So, Mr. Registrar, that is not your mandate. And I'm not sure ever any parliament will give you that mandate. It's the moral authority of a father. After that, those struggles at night to give birth, and you want to determine for him how the person should be named. So, Mr. Speaker, we should commend you and commend Mr. Speaker when we brought the matter for discussion together with the majority leader. You had no hesitation. This is how we must get our public institutions to work and work effectively and functionally. Mr. Speaker, finally, this House must resource the Births Registry very well. We must. So thank you, Common Fund, give them some. When the Common Fund comes, give them some. They need resources to work.
They generate a lot of money, so they should retain the money to do their work.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, an IGF formula. So, Mr. Speaker, with this comment, let me commend the Minister at least for timeously and appropriately appearing before this House at your request and providing clarity, very good clarity. So there is no doubt that he knows that he has no mandate to remove me or Nana or Na. Reverend Alaji, Mr. Professor, acquired after birth. But it is not the registrar's responsibility to determine for a father or mother how the son or the daughter be named. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I believe colleagues have really extrapolated on the issues that we raised last week and have very little to add. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the Honourable Minister for responding so timeously to our request to her to appear before us. Mr. Speaker, the Minister informed us that the communication from Parliament had not even reached her, and yet she decided on her own volition, given the circumstances of the times, to appear before us today to offer appropriate response. Mr. Speaker, so we expect our ministers to act with such degree of alacrity as the Minister has exhibited. So once again, I'm profoundly and eternally grateful to her. Mr. Speaker, but I look at the response that is given to us. The fourth paragraph, if I should read again, the Registration of Birth and Deaths Act 1965, Act 301, provides for the registration of births, fetal deaths, and deaths, and makes provision for burial grounds. Mr. Speaker, fetal deaths, does it include induced deaths? of the fetus. Speaker, if that is so,
that is criminal, so it cannot be part of what the law recognized. Induced ones are criminal, and they cannot be what the law recognized. The law cannot recognize crime. So what you have in mind, termination of pregnancy, cannot be recognized by the law if it is not done in the course of
death indeed is death. And as to whether it's natural or unnatural, accidental or unaccidental, it is death. And so about future should engage it was acquired. You cannot say so. We have Nana Eya, Nana Eya, Ebenezer ni na nate, Nana Ameniam Pomafo, ni Joseph ni laye afote ago. Ni laye, the ni is part of his name. The Speaker, that is the distinction that we sought to make, and that we said to the registrar that his insistence, by his insistence, you get these wrong. Because some means, some nas, some nanas are part of official names given to children at birth. Emmanuel Ni Okainlai, Betty Nana Ifua Crosby Mensah, Gifty Tina Na Ayele Mensah, Andrew Kofi Ejapa. Ejapa is good father. Ejapa is good father. And yet, Ejapa was given to the person at birth. How can anybody sitting in his office say that Ejapa is good father? It shouldn't be part of your name. It's a title. It should not be part of your name. These are the matters that we are concerned with. There is an honorable person called Queen Star. Whether he's a star of the Queens or whatever. That is the name that she's acquired, or perhaps given to her at birth. Can anybody say that this is a ridiculous name, so you should not have this name included as part of your official name? It cannot be. Mr. Speaker, there is Edwini Lante Vanderbilt and many others. Mr. Speaker, so I believe that was what we said to ourselves. It is not as if we took the registrar to clean us, but we said to him that is giving a literal interpretation to the SOP. Again, the position of the SOP has been made known to us by the chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, that it cannot supersede the Act itself. It cannot supersede the regulations. Mr. Speaker, perhaps where we are, the minister should consider the updating the regulations and indeed streamlining it to reflect the sentiments and then submit same to Parliament so that it will be in tandem with the current law and that the instructions from the office do not then have the effect of contradicting or being conflicting the sensibilities of Ghanaians. The Speaker, there are names that one ordinarily, or in a few years back, would have been considered ridiculous. And yet people are acquiring them. and giving such names to their children. Today we have Hallelujah. And I know of 2 people who are called Hallelujah. Mr. Speaker, the person has decided to name. Yes. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Mr. Speaker, so the person decides to name the child Hallelujah. Who are you to say that the person should not name the child Hallelujah? Not having known the toils of the couple before maybe they were able to conceive and give birth. The Speaker, this giving identity to the product of very excruciating nocturnal business should not be. Mr. Speaker, I'm being told that it cannot only be nocturnal. I agree. The member for Ojafu. Yes. Excruciating, I know the ordeal you went through. The Honorable Secretary Speaker, I know the ordeal you went through. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe where we are, we really need to get our act together. And I think because of the purpose for which the birds and bears should serve, the outfit should be liaising closely now with the National Identification Authority, in order that we have a document that will really reflect the figure that we have as our national population, so it doesn't get diluted. The Speaker, it's important that the two outfits liaise and get it right for us. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity granted.
This were not few.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to add a word to what has already been said, and to draw the attention of the House to a few other suggestions that will be carried on board in the review of the airline. Mr. Speaker, as stated, those names might not necessarily mean titles. In my language, Na is chief. Na is also a twin. So you have Na and Ziema. The Na is the one that comes last, because in essence, he has sent the messenger ahead. And so the Na will be the person's name, not just a title. And so you can have Na, and then another name. So they should not just see that as a title. Mr. Speaker, somebody could also be given a name, and the person will grow up not to like that name and can change the name. That is also permitted. And so in my area, when you are born on a market day, you can be called Dana, as the chief of the market. That's your name, Dana. You can grow up and decide that I don't want that name, and drop it and take another name. And so in developing the form should be that comprehensive to have name, given name, maiden name, and all those details, so that the person can decide that this is the name I want. I wasn't giving Kingsford. Kingsford I got when I was in senior high. My local name is Sumana. That is good. Those of you who say Sumani, I'm not Sumani. I am Sumana. Yes, not Sumani. My father is Bagwin and not Bagbin. And I was baptized Alban. Those of you who know St. Alban. Those of you who are